been forever.
I know. How you be? How you be?
I'm here.
Is that it?
Look, I've been at marketing, networking, business things all day. So, I've reached my people limit.
She's not a people person. Anyway, well, hey everybody. Welcome. Welcome to Season 5
yes.
of Case Files with Kat
and Ashley.
Oh, wow. Season 5. Wow, huh?
I know. It's exciting.
Did you ever think we'd make it here?
Yes.
Oh. I know.
We obviously, we're super famous.
Avi.
Avi. Oh, I forgot my favorite word.
So, no.
Coming back now.
Avi. So technically we are on episode 144. This is number 144. So we still have 6 episodes to get to the big 150. So that means that all of you still have time to get us a story, leave us a voicemail. Ashley will fix it, Glenn. We're sorry. It'll get fixed.
Yes, Glenn tried to leave us one. I was actually logging in to see if anyone else had left us one.
Okay, well, it's too late now. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so leave us a voicemail. Tell us a story. You can leave your story on the voicemail. Just make sure that, you're speaking clearly. But yeah, so much time. You've got a few weeks. But I'm thinking kind of maybe we should record a couple of small ones just to get up to the...
Yes. And we have had several people send us stories, so please send us.
We want your stories. Yes, we do. So yeah, anyway, we're going to be celebrating a big milestone soon. Thanks for tuning in to season 5. And so we don't drone on and on, like about life, I guess. I do want to say that this is we are recording on May 25th, 2022. Yesterday, there was a tragic elementary school mass shooting in Texas. And so we just wanted to take a moment to talk about that. Our hearts are heavy. They are with those families, as with 2 elementary kiddos of my own. Those kids, man, I just told Ashley, they looked more like me than my own kids do. And so like, that was just, it was hard to see. It wasn't in our backyard like the Santa Fe high school shooting was, but girl, those kiddos, just so beautiful. They're just so tiny. Anyway, I took a brief moment dropping off the kids at school this morning, making like a mental note of what they were wearing. So,
well, unfortunately, you did also see that Clearbrook High School had arrested a student for bringing a gun to school today.
In another high school nearby. It was unloaded. It was not loaded, unloaded. It's not loaded, but he brought another gun to school. There's just too much. There's too much going on. And, on the back of another mass shooting in Buffalo, New York at a grocery store, which is just horrendous. And I don't know why this has to keep happening all the time. So, yeah, I'm even talking to Jason about giving the kids phones just in case.
Yeah.
At this point, I would have never said that, before, but like, man, what if they need to, if I can't find them, what happens?
Yeah. That to me was when the parents were talking about not knowing where their kids were for 10 hours because no one would tell them and having to do DNA tests because the kids were unidentifiable. Like, that's horrifying to me. And I don't even have children. So I cannot imagine.
One of the things you all may not know is that one of the moms that lost her daughter in the Santa Fe shooting now works for me. And these past couple of weeks have already been pretty tough. Santa Fe happened on May 18th, 2018, when a 17-year-old gunman shot 23 people. 10 of them died, 8 students, 2 teachers, and then the other 13 were wounded. So that anniversary was just last week. So that was tough. Gave her that day off. Obviously, just every day, it's like, you just tell me what you need, tell me what you need, tell me what you need. And then to have this happen, and she was doing TV interviews all day today. I think she had like 3. And I'm looking at her going, I don't know how you're doing it. But I think that some of the strength comes from being able to speak out about it and then to also reach out to those parents because she knows what they're going through.
Yeah.
And what the next steps are and what to expect.
Yeah.
And there's so many different things that just, it's crazy, but she's strong as hell because honestly, I don't know. It's unimaginable to me.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would survive. I tell Jason he'd have to lock me up. I wouldn't be safe. I just wouldn't be. So, not to be a downer on the beginning of season 5, but man, feels like this is happening just with too much frequency.
Too often, yeah.
Too much frequency. Anyway, so thank you for indulging me. Thanks. Weighing heavy. So I wanted to keep it a bit light.
Well, then way to keep it light, Kat. Start off with children.
Yeah. So that's the beginning, and now it's going to be lighter after this. So let's start off with what are you drinking?
So I did not have a beer, so Kat provided a beer, and it's I have not had this one from Carvac before, but it's their Crawford Bach, which is pretty good. I don't really know how to describe the flavor of it.
It's a light beer.
It's a very light beer. It's like 4.5%. And we all know how I feel about that. But it's not bad. It's really not bad. It's very smooth, very easy to drink. And according to their website, a portion of all of the sales of this beer go to the Astros Foundation, which is a lot of good.
Yeah. So, we got some money from them. So, hey. Okay, well, I am drinking. This one's a new one for me.
Can art is so cool on both of those.
Yeah, totally into it. So this is from Firestone. It's the Propagator Series Galaxy Single Hop IPA made with Australian hops.
Oh,
Australian for
fancy.
beer. What was the name of that? Foster's? Australian.
Foster's, yeah.
Australian for beer. So this is a hazy IPA, 6.2%, and it is brewed in Paso Robles, California. And my story today takes place in California, but really all over the world. So that's the first one. If I make it through, I have another, and I'll talk about that. But you only get through one when you're telling a story.
Yes, it's very difficult.
I know, very difficult. But yes. So anyway, I have a question of the week.
You do.
Did you see it? I don't remember what it says, but basically I've been watching way too many
it was
TV
like,
shows.
what are you currently watching as far as true crime shows go?
Yeah, true crime documentary series. What you got?
So I actually just watched the Hulu Candy.
Is it good?
Oh my God. Like Jessica Biel. She is, they did amazing making her look like the real Candy. Like all of the actors look like the people they play. They did a really good job with casting because one of the guys in there is also in Orange is the New Black, and I couldn't even tell it was him, and he's like a main character in that show. So they did a really good job with like the costumes and makeup, and the show itself is just really, really, really well done.
Ooh, I can't wait to see it.
So I watched that, and then I follow this guy on TikTok, and I'll try to remember to post his name on our account. But all he does is talk about true crime cases, and he makes them in 3 minutes. And he's he tells the full story. He's amazing. But he does series like deaths at theme parks and disappearances and just different stuff, like really interesting stories. Like he does it without opinions and stuff. He like tells the facts or whatever. But the way he tells it, he's a really good storyteller. So I've been
3 minutes.
I've been watching his stuff a lot because he's just. I like the way he tells the stories.
I just can't watch TikTok. I can't watch like little funny stupid things. This is as far as I've gotten. This is it.
I follow a lot of true crimers on TikTok because they tell a lot of stories I've never heard before, or events that I haven't heard. So anywho, those are the ones I've been watching.
So, okay, I binge watched Ozarks, finished that.
Yes.
Then I binge watched Russian Doll.
Oh, yeah.
Finished that.
Yeah.
But
Russian
then
Dolls look really good.
I know. So then like that, I thought Natasha Lyonne was like a little over the top. She was like a little too clever all of the time. She had a one-liner for like everything.
I don't want to ruin it for people who
smart.
haven't seen it, but I was kind of disappointed with the way it ended. I was like, all of that for this ending? You know what I mean?
Oh,
but
I thought sets it up for season 3 great.
Yeah, but
there's a season 3.
Yeah, but I really do enjoy that series.
Yeah.
It's a crazy concept.
I was just she was like a little too snarky one-liners like every sentence. Like
I guess it's because I'm snarky that I didn't really like notice it so much.
Nobody's that witty 40 million times a day, you know, like there's got to be like, you know, it was well written and, you know, she totally plays it well. But I was like, okay, enough of the one-liners. Can you just have a normal conversation? But anyway, but what we watched this weekend was the real documentary of Grey Gardens. And I'd already seen it before. So it was a rewatching and we were both just so like, we didn't think we'd keep watching it. We just kept watching it. It's so fascinating. These two women are bonkers. Just if you've never seen this is like a slice of their life. And it is just fascinating. So highly recommend. Anyway. Okay. So if anyone answered the question, you can still go back and answer if you haven't already. That's okay. And stop hitting the table.
I know. I never listen, guys, I never breathe as heavy and I never move as much as when we're sitting at this damn table recording.
And like, pum, pum, pum,
I can sit in my office all day and not move and not breathe heavy and not cough or like my nose is all fine. Everything's great. I get here and it's like my whole body starts shutting down. I don't know.
Okay. So, like I said,
way to keep it light.
The way to keep it light. So, okay. So tonight I am going to keep it light. So I'm not doing a serial killer.
Oh my God.
Are there pigs flying in the sky? Has hell frozen over? I'm doing my other favorite topic.
Cults?
Ah!
I was going to be really confused if it wasn't a cult.
But I know, like, what is your other favorite topic? Okay, so but this one actually has a bit of a different ending than most because, well, it's pretty recent. You may not have heard of it, though, but I thought it was a good, especially after this last week, good just sort of warm up into season 5, getting everybody ready, maybe gives you an idea to tell us the story that you have in your life. Anyway, so we're just basically killing time until our 150th episode.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so tonight I am going to talk about a gentleman named Harold Camping.
Oh. Interesting.
No, that's his name. No, Harold was a pretty nice and decent man. What?
Who would have thought?
Why are we talking about him? Like on our show?
Well, like most cult leaders are pretty charming.
I mean, there's nothing like there's nothing in his past that says anything that it's just not. He is unlike any other main subject we have ever covered.
Oh.
Because there's no, like, parents were divorced and his mom beat him. There's nothing like that. He was just a very fervent believer in God.
Okay, then.
So here we go. But first, I'm going to start with this little clip to get you ready. And this comes from, and I'm going to, all of the clips tonight are going to come from a little documentary called Apocalypse Later, Harold Camping versus the End of the World. And so this is great title. I actually really enjoyed this movie. Now, a lot of what makes him so interesting, and it makes this documentary interesting, I am not going to go into at all. So because it gets into like theology and like what apocalypsism is. I can't even say that whole word.
I can't
apocalypticism, something like that. Okay, I'm going to stop saying it. But it goes into like the roots of that and where it started, and it goes into this very deep dive into all. So I am not getting, because everyone's going to fall asleep, because you have to really be into hearing about that, right? So there's lots of theologians from Yale and everything in this documentary talking.
That was a fancy word.
Mm-hmm. I got them in there somewhere. So I'm going to start with this first piece, and then we'll get into talking. But this is a pretty good setup. I remember as soon as it came up, I was like, whoa, Jason, listen to this. So so as soon as I knew I had to play this part.
Some context for aliens and future generations. Fully 79% of Americans believe Jesus will return to Earth someday. A little more than half of those folks believe Jesus will return by 2050. These are the last days. From where does this apocalyptic excitement originate?
Now they're at Yale Divinity School.
There is a large guild of biblical scholars, intellectual ballers. On the subject of apocalypticism, John Collins is the dude.
In the modern world, apocalypticism has itself become a tradition. And this was the work of Darby and Schofield, who did the Schofield Bible, and Moody, who founded the Moody Bible Institute. All of these people were saying that the end is at hand, nonetheless went out and built universities and built things, to plan for the present. And so that there is a kind of irony in this. But it becomes a self-perpetuating kind of institution.
So what he's trying to say is every generation to generation, there's always the end of the world, folks. Right?
Yeah.
But this is probably... I think in the past, they really were planning for the future.
Yeah.
And I think in modern times, they're not. They're like, Heaven's Gate, there was an end date, and that was it. There was no planning. You're not going to go any further than that.
I'm sorry, your cat started walking this way. That's what I was looking at before you got freaked out, thinking I was looking at something behind you. I just needed to clarify your cat was walking this way, and I got distracted because it was an animal.
Not a ghost.
Yes. Okay, continue.
Thanks,
Sorry.
Jason.
I just wanted to clarify because I know sometimes you get weirded out when I'm looking behind you.
Luckily, I'm not telling a scary story. Kevin is not needed for the story this week.
Kevin's
I know.
not even here.
Yeah. Kevin's right over here, but you just don't.
Anyways,
he's hiding somewhere amongst the wires. But so what he's really saying is now, it happens all the time, and there's another professor who talks about in the 1980s, they thought it was going to be 1988, in the 1920s, they thought it was going to be 1930 something, every decade or every so often there's another end of days cult and they just kind of move the goalpost or they do whatever. He might bite you. Careful.
I'm okay.
Okay.
I'm okay if the cat bites.
Okay. So let's learn about Mr. Harold Egbert Camping.
Okay.
So he was born on July 19th, 1921 in Boulder, Colorado, and moved at an early age to California. Both of his parents were Dutch immigrants to the United States. That's just
God,
one
I'm
beer.
rubbing off on her way too much
know.
with the speaking abilities.
United.
United
I'm from the
States of America.
Oh, I missed you. All right. So yeah, I'm not even going to try to say where his parents are from, like Groningen and Friesland. I'm sorry. I'm just making all that up. It looks like Friesland. And then his father was from Groningen. They first met each other in the U.S., and in 1942, Camping earned his bachelor's degree in civil engineering from UCal Berkeley. Oh. He went to Berkeley. So in 1943, he married his wife, Shirley. Cute little woman. And during World War II, he worked as an engineer for a government contractor. Shortly after the end of the war, he started a construction business, and he and his family were members of the Christian Reformed Church until 1988. Are you taking pictures of my cat?
Yes.
Okay, she's totally not even listening.
I'm
she
listening.
Is not listening.
I'm listening. But the cat is also being super cute, guys. I'm sorry. I'm listening.
Okay. So a little sidebar, because you weren't really listening.
I was listening.
Okay, so his family were members of the Christian Reformed Church until 1988, because in 1988, Harold said that this is when the church age ended.
Oh.
So, and this to him meant that churches were no longer houses of the Lord.
Oh.
And this was a blanket statement, y'all. Blanket statement. This meant that any and all churches were houses of Satan.
That's a very bold statement to make.
That is it. It says, so don't take my word for it. So according to this, again, amazing little documentary, Apocalypse Later, Harold Camping versus the End of the World, Harold says this.
I often think of all the people who are saying, oh no, it's not going to happen. It won't happen. What are they trusting? What is their basis for daring to say that it will not happen?
Yes, on Matthew 24:36.
I mean, it just basically says point blank in the Bible.
But that day knoweth no man.
What about what the Bible says that no man knows the day or the hour?
That's one of the signs. The churches are insisting that nobody can know the day, the time, and the hour, and that was correctly taught as long as Christ was operating in the churches. But in 1988, God shifted, and Christ no longer is ruling there. Satan is ruling there. Satan is ruling there.
I'm sorry.
That is one of the more shocking things to hear, that Satan is ruling in the churches.
Yes, it is. And you know, we would never believe that, but we read in 2 Thessalonians. Well, the fact is, whether you're a male or a female pastor, or whether you've been a pastor a long time or a short time, if you are still preaching in a church, you are a servant of Satan.
Wow. That is hardcore.
I mean, this to me, like, this is only 15 minutes into the movie. Okay, like, this is, to me, I was like, what?
Those are some very bold statements.
Bold. And when I first started doing research on him, I was kind of like, yeah, it's just like cute old man. You kind of, like, you look at him and you're thinking, man, this must have been from like 1950s, 1960s. He just kind of looks like that.
Yeah.
I would have never guessed that it was in the Bay Area in the 2011. So all of this is taking place, like, this is so, it just doesn't, he's like from out of another time.
Yeah.
And so for him to say that in California in 2011, I'm like, what? Like that, if I were a religious person, I would feel offended.
Yeah. I mean, that's just crazy. God shifted
in 1988. I don't know what happened in 1988 in his life.
What happened in 1988 for God that shifted him to make everyone servants of Satan?
Like, he left the church. He's like, peace, I'm out of here. And like left. I don't know. Like, I don't know what happened in 1988.
It was just a really,
he doesn't really go.
Bold statement. That's
I know.
all I'm saying.
It is. I mean, but then there were enough people who agreed with him.
That God just left in 1988.
Because I will tell you, he believed this, and he was preaching about this, and people believed him, and they were listening to him every day. They were going to his church on Saturdays. He had 2 Bible studies a week.
Insane.
He was nuts.
So wait, so he had Bible study, but didn't he say everyone who was a preacher was a servant of Satan?
He didn't. Yes, and he actually was not. He wouldn't even say that he belonged to a church.
Oh,
like,
okay. I thought you meant like he had his own church. And I was like, that's kind of hypocritical.
They would say that it wasn't a church, but he preached like it was a church. And he would say that it was an occult, but it kind of looked like a cult. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So they weren't putting the titles on there, but like
everyone else
if it quacks like a duck,
yeah.
Right? It looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck.
Yeah.
Anyway, so in 1988, this is what Harold Camping believed. The Bible alone is the word of God. So don't go to churches, don't get preached at, I guess. Like, the Bible alone is the word of God. Every biblical passage must be interpreted in the light of the Bible as a whole. That's just... The Bible normally conveys multiple levels of meaning or significance, which totally contradicts what he just said before. Numerology cannot be applied to numbers in the Bible when following the biblical rules. Some individuals have attempted to apply the concept of Camping's research. So this is part of the shit I'm not going to get into, because it gets into like the Gregorian calendar is this, and I'll get more into that a little bit, but it's like, oh my God. Ugh. He really had to do some gymnastics with his own math, fuzzy math. All right. So, and then lastly, salvation is unmerited and cannot be achieved by good works, prayer, belief, or acceptance. So you cannot say, I am saved by taking the Lord Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. That is not salvation. Just by you accepting that fact, which is like, when you get baptized, do you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior? Yes, I do. And then you're baptized, and then you're cleaned. Yeah. Right. You're saved. He does not believe that. He believes it is a pure act of God's grace, and that those to be saved were chosen before the foundation of the world. I know. It's kind of blowing like all the Christians who listen to us, like, what? Because it's totally not like, if you go to any, Bible church, evangelical church, any of those churches, I mean, Christ saves you. So this is not that. It's like,
well, and a lot of cults say the same thing.
You cannot be saved. You're just, let's see if you're like one of the lucky ones. We'll see. You can repent. You can do all these things, and maybe God will do that for you. I mean,
I'm still stuck on the God was out in 1988 statement. I'm sorry.
So he added conditions to salvation and teaching relative free will of humanity. However, he admitted that some, though very few, could be saved while still in the worldly churches, just as there would be those saved inside the nation of Israel, and that leaving the churches is something a believer should do, just as a believer should not lie or cheat. Leave your church. I know. He also gave credit to God for what has been called common grace, where the unsaved, the yet to be saved, and the saved are blessed to do good works. And this is not considered the gift of salvation itself.
Okay. This all makes total sense.
So basically, there's some good people doing good works, but that doesn't mean they're going to heaven. They're not going up in the rapture. Okay.
They didn't win the lottery.
Anyway, they didn't win the lottery. Oh yeah, I'll get into how many of those people are actually going to go up.
Oh, he has a number.
There's a number.
Oh
yes.
Okay then.
Oh yes, bam. Okay. So in 1958, Camping, I'm going to go back in time now. Camping in 1958 joined with other individuals of the Christian Reformed, Bible Baptist, and Conservative Presbyterian backgrounds to purchase an FM radio station in San Francisco, California. The radio station, KEAR, then at 97.3 megahertz, was used to broadcast traditional Christian gospel to the conservative Protestant community and minister to the general public. So 1958 through the 60s, this was called family radio, and they acquired 6 additional FM stations. That's huge. And
it is pretty huge.
And 7 AM stations.
Damn.
I know. That's 13 radio stations. That is a lot of radio stations under guidelines established by the FCC. So family radio's music programming consists mainly of, at this point, traditional Christian hymns and other genres within Christian music. But for decades, family radio avoided any types of contemporary Christian music. And they only played the traditional stuff.
That is just so crazy that they were able to get keep 13 stations running with that specific.
How much
like,
did that cost? And like, I mean, that's just, you got to be able to hit all the markets, all of rural US, you know, like that's crazy. So they just kept probably moving east from I guess so. At some points, they played small amounts of very light Christian songs from the 70s, but they really avoided anything moderately contemporary. So they just stuck with the basic hymns.
Gotcha.
In 1961, Family Radio began running the Open Forum. So this is 1961. The Open Forum was a live weeknight call-in program that Camping hosted until 2011. Listeners, and he did this 7 days a week. Listeners were invited to call in, and they would have questions about the meaning of certain passages in the Bible. They had, and so he would answer those based on his own interpretations. He would reference other Bible verses in doing that. Sometimes they were questions about like, my husband wants to divorce me, or other just general Christian doctrine questions, the nature of sin and salvation, to marriage, sexual morality and education. It ran the gamut, and he would just be on this, he would sit in this chair and answer these questions. That's what he did. And so another little fun fact. According to the movie, there was a caller who called into Open Forum and said that according to the Guinness Book of World Records at the time, anyway, so I guess his was the longest running daily radio show with one host. 50 years. 50 years. I mean, I don't think we'll make it to 50. So I mean, like, bravo, sir.
Damn.
Well done.
A lot of talking to people.
I was too lazy to look that up to confirm that, but 50 years, that's still a long time.
I wouldn't doubt it. Like, I mean, I wouldn't doubt that it was 50 years.
I don't doubt it either. But he was like, and how can I prove it? I'm like, recordings? He said in the middle, how can I prove it? I'm like,
it seems like the crazier you are, the longer you're on the air. So we might be around for 50 years.
I feel like that's true. I feel like I would just kind of run out of things to talk about. It's like, oh, well, my sciatica's acting up this week. What about you, Ashley? 50 years from now.
We got to talk to these damn callers again. No,
listen, I will be 95 in 50 years.
I will be 80 something, I think. I don't know. I don't math. My fuzzy math is same as his.
50 plus 45
I was 2
is easy.
when God pieced out. So, I didn't get a good education.
Oh, God. You'll be 85, honey. Okay. All right. Okay. Anyway, in 1970, Camping published the Biblical Calendar of History. This is where I'm just going to keep it really short. His calendar of history is some kind of wonky. Anyway, it was later greatly expanded in his 1974 book, Adam When, and in which he dated the creation of the world to the year 11,013 BC and the flood at 4,990 BC. So this is in contradiction to Bishop James Ussher's famous 17th century chronology, which is, I guess, what everyone else is working off of, which placed the creation at 4004 BC and the flood at 2349 BC. Raise your hand if you knew any of those dates. Crickets. Yep. I mean, I don't know. I've never wondered what those dates were. Okay. Camping argued that Ussher's dates agree neither with the biblical nor the secular evidence. That's what he said. Asserting that Ussher's methodology was flawed. Okay. And there is an explanation as to why that's flawed, but I'm not going to get into it because
I think we all know
it is super. I was going to leave it in the script just to start reading it. And then it's like, and then just start snoring like I'm putting myself to sleep. Okay. So, yes, it's flawed. Anyway, So Camping received criticism from a number of leaders and Christian leaders, scholars, and even laymen within the Christian community who argued that Jesus taught that no man knows the day or the hour of the Lord's return, because he had really started at this point kind of talking about that. Obviously, the title of the movie is Harold Camping versus the End of the World. But Camping responded to those who labeled him a date setter, following his own method of biblical interpretation by asserting that he followed the Bible's method of interpretation. So he was very adamant about his fuzzy math being the right fuzzy math. Camping then taught that a biblical calendar had been hidden according to Daniel.
Of course it was.
Mm-hmm. So in Daniel 12, verse 9, and Revelation 22, verse 10, detailing the imminent end of the world with alleged biblical evidence pointing to the date for the rapture as May 21st, 2011.
Well, damn, we missed it.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Did we?
Are we really dead? Are we dead right now? Are we doing this podcast from the afterlife? Makes so much more sense.
We aged in the afterlife.
Hey, look, it depends on where we went, I guess.
Okay. Also, he points to that, points to the Bible as to claim the end of the church age, which asserted that churches are no longer the vehicle used by God for salvation. And he says that came from Peter. And then, sorry, I have to switch to the next page. And then also of the predestination coming from Ephesians, according to which God determined before the beginning of the world which individuals are to be saved. So he's saying, according to all of these lines in the scripture, that these are all places of proof. Camping did not consider Family Radio a church, even though he was basically consistently on air preaching the word of God. I'm not really sure how you can say that it's not.
Yeah.
He did not claim ordained or hierarchical authority within the church or within a church or an institution. Like, this is all just him, like, they put me on the radio and I'm just going to talk. And, that's it. They did get money and they did do things with that money. It's like, it's not a church. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Sure.
That's too much. Okay. So Camping claimed that the church institutions do not employ the Bible alone as the sole authority. I'm thinking that, like, the preacher is the sole authority, like also the authority in the church. According to Camping, each church or denomination has its own unique set of doctrines and which dictate how they understand the Bible. Family Radio's sole focus on the Bible is what he believed distinguishes it from mainstream churches. In his book, 1994, he claimed there was a very high likelihood that the world would end in September of 1994, although he did acknowledge in the book that the possibility exists that I could be wrong, end quote. Hence the title, 1994?
We can just make up dates now and write books about it. Got it.
Yes. Like, God, what if he was right? And he was like, I was right the first time.
We'd all be dead if he was right the first time.
Right, so September, or we're living in hell. Yeah. So maybe the rapture did happen and he wasn't one of the chosen. Ever think about that, Ashley?
No, I'm sorry. I didn't. My bad.
All these good works doesn't save. Remember that. He did. So he did. I know, right? He did acknowledge that he could be wrong. And that's why the book was titled with a question mark. So
could be.
That gave him some credibility. I don't know. So in Camping's later publications, and for which he gained the most notoriety, was for him stating that May 21st, 2011 would be the, quote, the first day of judgment. Because later it didn't happens. So he said in October 21st, 2011 would be the end of the world. Like, that's it. That's the end of the world. Hard stop.
Okay.
That's it. That's it. Followers of camping claimed that around 200 million people, approximately 2.8% of the world's 2011 population, would be raptured.
Oh, okay.
Only 200 million. That's it.
And how did they said the Bible said that?
Oh,
They just said 200, making up end of world dates and making up rapture numbers. Got it.
Or just, sure, why not? Let's put that sounds nice, round number.
Yeah.
And they publicized the prediction in numerous countries. And so all these people who were listening to him every night and were believing him were sending him money. And there's a transportation agency worker who sent him $150,000
about to die
to spread the word of the rapture.
Oh, okay.
So this poor transportation worker in New York City sent him $150,000. And then he was like, "Hey, bitch, you lied." Like, what? Right. So yeah, there were some pretty angry people. So all of these people were sending him money, and then all this money was being spent around the world, in the Middle East and Europe and everywhere, putting up billboards about, in all the different languages, billboards that said May 21st, 2011, the end of the world is coming. Repent. Like, it is time.
I thought he said repenting didn't save you.
It doesn't hurt to try.
Oh, okay.
I mean, right?
I guess.
But if you're already chosen, does it matter? I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
He's very confusing.
He's very confusing. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, it was also reported that and this is probably the worst part of it. Yes, people lost money and that really sucks. But this is the one thing that was really like kind of makes him a horrible human being. It was reported that a 14-year-old Russian girl named Natasha Zakhanova committed suicide over his prediction. Like, well, no use going on. It's not going to get better.
Probably wasn't the only one. She's probably the only one documented.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably true. I mean, what if you gave away all your money? Like,
sold all your things? And
yeah, the aftermath of that. Reuters reported that, and so the thing about this documentary is that it starts on T-minus 10 days. So they are with him the last 10 days.
That's pretty cool.
So you start to like, oh, well, we're 10 days out from the end of the world and rapture and 9 days, 8 days, 7 days, 6 days. And they kind of go through and you're watching it. And on come May 21st, Reuters reported that the curtains were drawn on the camping house in Alameda, California, and that no one was answering the door. And this was supposed to happen at like 6 p.m. on the 21st. So this part that I'm playing is what it is a news station in California standing outside of Family Radio's headquarters in Oakland.
Before you play this, May was the judgment day, but October was the end of the world officially.
So I'll get into it. I'll say it later, but he said May 21, after it didn't happen, he said May 21 was the invisible judgment day.
Oh, okay. That's why I was confused.
Yeah, well, of course, that's not clear as mud. All right, so this is May 21st, and that evening, the news station is outside of headquarters, and this is it.
Camping's prediction is making news. NBC Bay Area's Kimberly Terry is in Oakland, where demonstrations are going on at Camping's radio station. Kimberly?
Diane, you want to take a look for yourself here. There is a lot going on here. The countdown to release balloons shaped as humans is going on right now, an effort to mock The preacher's message. There are a couple of different groups outside the radio station here. Some are atheists who are making fun of the preacher's prediction. Most, though, are from the Calvary Bible Church in Milpitas. They're upset, saying this preacher is misleading his followers and making a mockery of Christianity.
But I'm convinced that we are on the border of the return of the Lord. You say, oh, Chuck, you said that back in 1970. Yep. And we are now 37 years closer. But we're getting very, very close.
There was a lot of people here, a lot of people from the Calvary Bible Church in Milpitas who were here to kind of help the followers should they be distraught after the prophecy not coming to fruition.
They're going to despair. And they're going to need hope. So, Lord willing, the message will go out that we're available. We want to share. We'll pray for them. We'll help out any way we can.
Well, did you see any followers? I haven't run into any.
I have not. I did see one person who had a big sign that said, "Repent now."
No reaction yet from camping in regard to the protesters or the time frame, which has now passed. Live in Oakland, Kimberly Terry, NBC, Bay Area News.
And so the documentary film crew was interviewing Kimberly Terry in her van, while she's taking a break. And he's like, so you haven't run into anybody? And she's like, no. And so then right after they leave her, sun's down, sun's gone down at this point. And there's a young man dressed up as Jesus. And they go up to him and they're like, you arrived. And he's like, yes, I am here. It's like, when did you get here? Well, I'm an hour and a half late. It wouldn't be funny if you didn't see that he was dressed up as Jesus. So I didn't keep playing. But that one was... that
is pretty funny.
It was pretty funny. I was like, ha ha ha. Like, anyway, it's a very, it's amusing to us. I know for him, I'm sure it was just a very sad day.
And for his followers who actually believed him.
And his followers, his daughter who worked for him, who just did not question her father. And, he's 89 years old. He's old. He's an old man. Remember, they got married in the Civil War, in the Second World War. And his daughter is probably in her 50s or 60s. I mean, so she's older, And so it's just a very sad scene. It's like, I can just imagine like your whole life, especially for his daughter. I mean, I'm sure she's just been brought up in this church and everybody. So, and anyway, no one was answering the door. And the next day, he did emerge from his home on May 22nd, saying that he was flabbergasted. That's his quote, flabbergasted that the rapture had not occurred. He stated that he was, quote, looking for answers and would say more when he returned to work on the 23rd, so the next day. So on May 23rd, in an appearance before the press, he just took the bull by the horns. He was not shying away. I really thought like when it got to May 21st and nothing happened, this is why I say like, this sort of has an ending that we weren't expecting.
Yeah. I definitely thought he was going to kill himself. Like on the 21st. Like,
you know what? I think that's probably where I thought it was going to. Yeah. Somebody's going to die. This is what I thought. Like somebody's going to die because of this. And like, what's it going to be? How's it going to happen?
Yeah.
Everyone's going to go down. And it totally wasn't like that. His wife looked in good spirits. Like everybody's like, I mean, when I say she is just the cutest thing, she's just the cutest thing.
They're just like, oh, too bad it didn't happen.
Oh, okay. So he got in front of the press on the 23rd when he went back to work because never took a day off. Camping stated that he had reinterpreted his prophecy. Okay. In his revised claim, May 21st was the spiritual judgment day, the invisible judgment day, and the physical rapture would occur on October 21st, 2011, simultaneously with the destruction of the world. So people aren't going to get off the planet before it gets destroyed. It's going to all happen at the same time.
Oh, okay.
All right. So October 21st, end of the world. Camping said his company would not return money donated by the followers to publicize the failed May 21st prediction, stating, "We're not at the end. Why would we return it?"
This is in 2011.
Oh, yeah. Isn't this crazy? Like,
I mean, it's kind of crazy that 9/11 happened too, like a month before his prediction. Oh, just kidding. Don't look at me. Fuzzy math. Fuzzy math, people.
Oh my God.
Fuzzy math.
Nope.
Fuzzy math. I said fuzzy math.
This was a year before I got married.
2011?
I got married in May 5th, 2012.
See, we learn something new every day.
Mm-hmm.
Why Ashley doesn't do math?
2001 was
yes,
9/11.
I know. I realized it as soon as I said it.
In September.
Well, that's what I said, 9/11.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
I was, yeah.
Yeah, you're thinking, yep.
As soon as I said it, I was like, God damn it. That was 2001.
Glenn's going to laugh at that one. He's going to laugh.
Go away, Glenn.
Okay.
Our producer can just edit this.
Nope.
I know. Anyway, it's going to be the only clip on the damn episode. It's going to be me saying that.
I'm going to have him add those like weird sounds like whoop, 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 whoop.
Listen, I didn't get raptured, okay?
Okay. Obviously. Okay. Hey.
Living this life.
All the
carelessly.
ladies not in rapture. Hey. All right. So, atheist and skeptic groups such as American Atheists and IIG gathered across the country with signs attracting attention away from camping's followers who were in seclusion at this point. They did not want to come out. Meanwhile, mainstream Christian groups distanced themselves from camping's predictions. One of the things with what happened with a lot of people, and this came out like New York Times, the Washington Post, and NPR even did a story on it. Like a lot of the people who were followers and who found out that it just wasn't true. When it didn't happen, they were kind of like, oh well. And one of the theologians that is interviewed, he says that's actually really common because when it doesn't come about, when that prediction doesn't happen, they all go towards that God is within us. They turn their focus away from we're going to be raptured. We're going to go to the kingdom of heaven. And it's going to be perfect. And, we're all going to be, healthy and not hurting anymore. And instead of looking for that, they try to find the God within. And so
I like
which
how
is
casual they are about all of this.
Oh, well, yeah. And then people in the movie, you can hear them going, I'm trying to tell my coworkers, hey, rapture's coming, but I try not to be too pushy about it. Like, go good. I'm sure you made some friends. Yeah. So it's very, there's young people, old people. And I sent you some pictures. I'm going to send you some pictures. I haven't hit send yet. That the crowd is very diverse. It's not rich people. It's not old people. It's young, lots of young people. Yeah. Of all races, just everything. It's just the church just looks like a hodgepodge of America. So because he was everywhere. And so you don't know who's going to listen and who's going to be right for the picking, at that point. Anyway, okay. In September of 2011, Camping and several other prognosticators who incorrectly predicted various dates for the end of the world were jointly awarded the Ig Nobel Prize for teaching the world to be careful with making mathematical assumptions and calculations. Now,
that's what I need. I need that award.
So the Ig Nobel Prize is like obviously satirical, but it's sort of it's like you made people laugh and then you made people think.
Yeah.
So together. Like at first everyone laughed at you, but then you made them think. And hi Louie, he's meowing. Okay, so then in October of 2011, News 24 reported that the size of Camping's congregation had dwindled to about 25 adults on a typical Sunday, which was not normal. That's not
that
what
seems
it was.
Very low.
It's very low. Yes, that's very low. Camping and his followers largely avoided the media in the months following May 2011, and he remained in seclusion after October 21st, 2011 had passed, without his predictions coming true. On October 21st, Time magazine's website listed Camping's end times prediction as one of Time's top 10 failed predictions. Damn. Okay, so in March of 2012, Camping admitted that his predictions were in error. So it took him a little while.
I'm impressed that he admitted it.
That's the other thing of what makes him so different. He admitted it, stating, "We humbly acknowledge we were wrong about the timing."
Yeah.
He also announced that the end of doomsday predictions, that's it, no more. He's not making any more. Thank you. And in May of 2012, a year after the failure of Camping's prophecy, Religion Dispatches published a report on Camping's disillusioned former followers, some of whom had reportedly come to view him as a cult leader. And this is the last clip I'm going to play. When I say that he's just really different from all of the other cult leaders, this is, I mean, he had thousands of followers, thousands. And he ended up with 25. It's a humbling experience, I'm sure. But this is what makes him really, really different. May 30th, 2012, AD, 375 days after Judgment Day.
This is guaranteed by God. No, the Bible never said that. That was a conclusion that I had, and I talked about it and yelled it and screamed it. And anytime we break a law of God, we sin, and we might as well face up to it. I was totally convinced, totally convicted of it, but I was wrong. I was wrong. I have sinned.
That is different that he admitted to being wrong.
I mean, 100%. You'd be hard pressed to find another cult leader that was like, nope, I was wrong. Sorry, everybody. I sinned. Nope.
Yeah.
I'm done here. I'm done. And maybe it was his age. Maybe that's what was different. I'm not sure.
Maybe it was the humbling experience of going from thousands and thousands to 25.
I mean, maybe he was old. He was just really old,
yeah.
You know. So in March 2013, it was calculated that Family Stations Incorporated, which owned Family Radio, spent more than $5 million on billboard advertising in 2011, just in 2011. Right. The year of the apocalypse was predicted to occur in 2011, but that was only supposed to happen in May. And they spent $5 million.
Wow.
They lost a lot of revenue with the failed prediction. And so they had to sell a lot of its radio stations and lay off staff. In January 2014, a month after Camping died, Family Radio stated that it would maintain his mission and theology, including the belief that all established Christian churches are apostate. So for the next few years, Family Radio continued to air his past broadcasts and to distribute his literature. But in October of 2018, Family Radio discontinued using any of his commentary because it just wasn't, they were trying to distance themselves from it at that point. It just wasn't, there weren't the listeners for it.
Yeah.
So a little bit about his death. I just mentioned that he did die, but his health. So soon after the failed May 21st prediction, he suffered a stroke. This happened on June 9th, 2011. Suffered a stroke. He was hospitalized. He regained his ability to walk. He could still talk. So in that video that was in 2012, and he sounded just the same to me, but you can tell he was a little bit weaker. but he kept going. He kept going, and he did go into a nursing home and all of that for rehabilitation. But he died 2 years later, December 15th, 2013. He had a fall. So he was at this point like 91. He had a fall. Though. Yeah. And 2 weeks later, he died. And then his death was confirmed by an employee from the radio network. So recent developments. Okay, so on November 21st, 2014, the Walt Disney Company announced it would sell WQEW in New York City to Family Radio for $12.95 million. So that was in 2014. So how did they have that much money?
Yeah.
Wow. Right.
Especially with the followers who are upset about not getting their money back.
I know. So that gave Family Radio full coverage of the New York City metropolitan area for the first time in 2 years because they had sold off some stuff.
Yeah.
Concurrent with the sale, the FCC converted WFME's broadcasting status from commercial to non-commercial. During 2016, Family Radio moved its corporate offices from Oakland, where it had originally been based, that was like the original place, to the East Bay city of Alameda, which was also near Oakland International Airport. In September 2018, Family Radio announced it would no longer air programs featuring the voice of Harold Camping. So they were just like, that's it.
Yeah.
Don't even associate us with him anymore, right? They wouldn't distribute literature or his teachings. They really were just like, that's it. We're moving away from all of that. Just a few years after its restructuring, Family Stations Incorporated announced on October 28th, 2019, that it would be moving its headquarters from Alameda, California to Nashville, Tennessee. Dick Whitworth, the senior director of marketing for the network, explained to the Christian Post, quote, "We want to be good stewards of our finances, the gifts from our listeners and the gifts God has given us. The decision to move to Nashville was made primarily because of the cost of doing business in the Bay Area. Family Radio will, however," that was the end of the quote, sorry. "Family Radio will, however, keep its satellite uplink facility in Alameda, California, with upgrades and improvements for the distribution of all of its network and local station produced programming. Construction of the new headquarters broadcast facility was completed in January of 2020. So that is Harold Camping and Family Radio.
I'm just gonna say it's impressive they're still going.
I mean.
Well, that was a very, very interesting story and a very kind of twist ending. Like I assume most cult leaders just die of suicide.
I know, or kill people or something. Yeah.
He just kind of stole money from people to spread the word. He didn't even buy anything fancy, right? Other than the billboards. And
the man drove the plainest car and dressed like the plainest person. And they're just a simple life.
That is just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I would like to tell you we had one answer to the question of the week. So I'm going to read that now. In case you're unfamiliar, every week we post a question of the week that you can, as Kat said earlier, you can always go back and answer. We do read them. We love them.
I think people just liked my picture.
Yeah, we did have a lot of people who actually liked the picture.
Like, so. The news sucks. I'm going to watch true crime and murder shows. Like,
Laura said, I'm a sucker for Dateline. Dateline is a good one.
Can you stream it, though? Because, like, I don't have...
Oh, I don't know.
Is that, like, on any... I'm sure... Hulu, maybe. Yeah. I'm sure it's on something.
I love See No Evil. I haven't watched it recently, but See No Evil is where it's a true crime show. It's real, and it's people who have died, and it's their last day on surveillance cam. They use their surveillance cameras of different places to trace their last steps to see.
You talked about that before.
Yeah, to see how. Crazy. But it's so when you're watching it and you know it's their last moments, like it's so bizarre because like it'll be like someone walking out of like their hotel lobby and then it'll be like them on a restaurant surveillance or walking down the street, like a traffic camera or something, and it shows people following them or what, they're so oblivious to what's happening, but the cameras capture all of it. There's also a sister show called Hear No Evil where it's all audio based, but I prefer the See No Evil because I think it's just fascinating in a weird kind of way.
I don't know, because then that's going to make me like turn around all the time.
It does make you kind of
aware.
Yeah, it does make you a little more aware of your surroundings because I was like, damn, like watching it. It's a really, really good show. See No Evil is really good.
Well, if you didn't answer, you can go back and answer it. Please. I need TV shows.
Please send us your personal true crime stories, paranormal stories. We want to highlight you guys for our 150th episode. And as a reminder, I removed all of the season 1 episodes because they were from a different time.
But we're still counting them.
We are still counting them. We're using fuzzy math all the way here. I'm on camping's calendar.
We can actually add, we're like at 146 if we did like all the reruns that we did, with Ann Johnson.
But if you really want to listen to season 1, just message us and I will send them to you. But we took them off because we were on a radio station that had local ads and they were shorter stories and just a lot of stuff happening. And all of our bad reviews come from that because people don't move past that. They don't realize that it was a different
time.
Format. So yeah.
Not that it's not loud here. We have children
totally
in this house and cats and
but we might end up re-recording some of those stories anyways because there's been developments on some of them. We've actually talked about some of the developments in other seasons, so we'll see what happens.
Crazy times. I don't even want to go back. All right. Well, anything else you want to talk
about? Leave us voicemails on our website. I don't know why Glenn couldn't operate a website, but I'm just kidding, Glenn. We love you. We love you. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, Glenn. We love you.
Oh, the gauntlet has been thrown.
But yes, please leave us voicemails on our website. Send us messages, whatever. Carrier pigeons. We love you. That's all I got. I'm probably going to do a disappearance next week because I love disappearances, but who knows? Might be a murder. Might be aliens.
Still waiting on beer from Oregon.
I mean, the government officially announced they believe in aliens now. So like,
what?
Yeah, they released that whole thing where they talked about all the UFO like documents and stuff. That they basically admitted that they think UFOs are real now. Just no one cares.
Well,
I posted a meme about it today on our page.
I'm going to do an alien story and I'm going to make Jason be a part of that episode because he will talk to you because Anderson really, really, really wants to believe in aliens. And Jason's whole argument about what UFOs are, I'm going to make him, I can't do it justice. I'm going to make him be on the episode.
I will try my best. We have covered the best UFO stories out there. I will try
to cover the new stuff.
Okay, I will do my best. No promises, guys. You know me,
dude. I didn't watch it, so you can redo it.
Okay.
There's a lot of us that didn't. Okay. All right, everybody. Well, we'll see you next week. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to season 5. We're so happy that you're here. We love every single one of you. So while you're out there, please love on your little ones, love on your people, and just be kind to one another. Please. Thank you. See you next week.
Bye.